Hey, how everybody doing today? This is LVB Iceman coming in to explain his deck profile on Mira. Mira right now is, in my opinion, one of my favorite leaders at this point, especially with the newer expansion that's coming in. I chose him as a leader because his self-awakening ability, as well as being able to fuel your drop area on either side. His basic non-awoken side is an active main once per turn. Choose one card from your life, add it to your hand. This card gains 5k for the duration of the turn. And then you take 3 cards from the top of your deck, place them in the drop area. Awakened side, he stands back up 2 energy. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Active main, once per turn, choose 3 cards in your warp, add them to your drop area, and this card gains 5k for the duration of the turn. So as you can see, he's fueling you. He's helping you stay consistent with being able to overwhelm, or if you have the promo mirror card that came in the anniversary set, dark overwhelm along with wormhole. Beautiful card to have. So the 4 main cards I have in every deck: Black Mass Sand. He's there to really counter the meta, especially for Vanilla Coup, along with any other basic cards that you will see in this new setup that they have. Definitely be able to help you stop, because your opponent has to discard 2 cards from his hand if they're playing a non-keyword skill that allows you to place cards on the field. So if you're running maybe any Android cards, Vanilla Coups, things like that could really help you stop the meta, I suggest that you play him in every deck, but mainly in this deck. And he also helps you be able to self-awaken a lot easily as well, especially when you get mirrored down to 5 and you don't want to just pluck their life and do things like that yourself. Next up, Toa. She's an amazing card, especially from I'm going to explain why, but right now she's good to have, to also just have in your drop area for creative absorption. We'll get to that in a minute. But her auto kicks in when you play her. Look, top 7 cards from your deck, get a mirror or a Black Mass Sand. So if you're looking for Black Mass Super Sand Sand card, or you're looking for a mirror card, that's easily helps you right there. Beautiful card to have. Next up, Toa again. Now this one is a lot better. She's a dark overwhelm. She's a dark overwhelm for 4, tap 1 energy. Take control of your opponent's card with the energy cost of 3 or less permanently. That is your card until they get it off the field. So most of the time, as you can see, you get a lot of cards out there that already have 15k, 20k by turn 3 for some players. So this is a good card to have, and to also have in your drop and warp area to fuel your union absorption as well, just in case. Right now I run 3 mirror reinforcement. I say reinforcement. Oh my goodness. I run 3 mirror self whatever the hell it is. I'm sorry, I'm nervous right now. Bear with me. He's really good. This card is really good. He's part of the anniversary set. They knew what they were doing. He's a union absorption, no overwhelm, double striker, 20k, has deflection. His permanent effect is when you have 10 or more cards in the warp, reduce his energy cost by 1. So you can bring him out with a 4 drop. You can pull a Toa from your warp or drop area, union absorb under there, to play a 7 drop, which is creative absorption, from your deck or hand on top of him. So that's a real quick, easy fix right there, and that's why I have so many Toas in the deck, to be able to pull that off at any point. Now there's only 3 of him, and there's a reason for that, because he's a very powerful card, and sometimes you don't want to just have him in your hand starting off. You want to try to be able to build up to him, and if you can't reach him, you always run Dark Absorption Mirror. Great card as well. He is a overwhelm for 3. You tap 4 though to pull the union absorption, which is where you're able to grab a which is where you're able to grab Creative Absorption Mirror from your warp and or drop area. And or hand. Yes. Better play him from and or hand and place it on top of this card in active mode. So you can get a toy from your warp under this card. So that's why I have so many toys, just to be able to pull that off at any given time. Creative Absorption Mirror right there. That guy nasty. When you Union Absorb for this man, he becomes a double strike, and your opponent has to discard 3 cards from their hand. And he also gains 5k for every card in your warp. This man is nasty. He's a beautiful card to have. But if you cannot get to him, I would suggest you always run 3. I run 2 because that's all I could pull and could afford. If you cannot get to him, you also should run one of him just in case, which is Forceful Destruction Mirror. Now, what was just relayed to me by my brother Loco, Ambulo, as you may know, Xeno Evolve, tap 5 energy. When you Xeno Evolve any card, evolve with any card, he stands back up. His effect is when you Xeno Evolve, he discards 3 cards from your opponent's hands. If your leader card is a Toa or Android and you have 10 or more black cards in your warp, which you will, your opponent has 3 cards in their hand and they send them to their warp. So he also is able to kind of empty out your opponent's hands a lot easier as well. Next one up is Mira, Evasion Power Mira. I have him in there. He's good to have for me, just to apply early game pressure. Warp 5, tap 1 energy. He's a 25 double strike. Most of the time your opponent won't try to out combo that starting off just by turn 2 or even turn 1 in some cases, in very special cases. So that's really good to have, apply early game pressure, and he's also really good for charge bait, just to really have him in there. Next up is Dark Control God Demeter. He's a really good card. I really enjoy this card. You Dark Overwhelm 4, tap 3. Every time this card attacks or declares an attack, your opponent has to discard a card from their hand and send it to the warp. He's a really good card. Only thing about it is, if you want to try to end game pretty quickly, you kind of will leave yourself untapped with him. So he's more of a after turn 4 maybe, if you can keep it extending that long. Next up is your boy Gravy. Next up is Gravy. Gravy should be in every black deck in my opinion. He helps fuel your drop area as well for Overwhelm. Anytime you combo with this card, choose 2 cards in your warp, place them back in your drop area, and then at the end of that turn, he goes to your drop area. So you initially got 3 cards in your drop just for 1. Next up behind him, Fu, the Dark Banisher. Thank you. He's an amazing card to have. Anytime he's an amazing card. Overwhelm 8, tap 4. Your opponent cannot activate any counter or skills cards unless they banish a card from their hand to the drop area. And he's a triple attacker for 25. Beautiful card. I've not seen anybody outplay this card yet. So next up, Banishing Fu. Easy card. Overwhelm 5, tap 1. Get one of your opponent's battle cards to the warp area. 20k double strike. Very easy, very simple. Scientist Fu, amazing card. Overwhelm 7, tap 1, draw 2 cards, double strike, 25k. As you can see right now, everything that I'm doing is a lot of overwhelming and a lot of swinging for double strikes and being able to fuel my hand and be able to get rid of my opponent's hand easily. A card that is recommended to have up to 2, I'm broke right now, can't afford it, is Vegeta Time Regulator. Sorry. He's a really amazing card, just to go over him very quickly. When you play this card, when you overwhelm on your turn, you draw a card, a 7 energy cost or more card in your warp. You take it from your warp, place it at the bottom of your deck, and leave it just like that. So if you happen to need to create a absorption mirror, all you gotta do is put him back in your drop area with him. Every time you overwhelm, draw one card. So you can dark overwhelm, or if you have wormhole, for anybody who's playing Demigra, he's a really good card to have. I say have him up to 3. Right after that, Crisis Crusher. Better get your opponents not to be able to swing on their first turn. Pop any 1-drop card. Somebody might need a Kami out there just in case. Next up, Kami, be able to stop the meta, slow them down. Tap 2 energy, blow up the field, as we may already know. Super combo, Roshi. Black card, 4 or less life, does not require anything in your drop or your warp. So that's really good in my opinion, especially with the self-awakening. The counters that I run, counter attacks or power burst, I have 4 of those. Roshis, you'll be able to pull a 1-drop from your warp and or drop area, place it back in your hand. Very good to have. Next up, Dark Kamehameha Wave Mira. Really great card. Gives your leader card Mira 15k, and it allows you to warp one of your opponent's battle cards with the energy cost of 4 or less. And right after that is minus Killy Zone. Great combination. Your opponent cannot activate counters for that turn that you play this card, and you remove 3 cards from your drop, put them in the warp, and draw 1 card. So overall, this is my deck profile for it. I love it. I have actually been with this new deck I've created. I've been 3 and 3 so far, which is really good. So there you go.